You've got $500, a dream, and you want to get a camera for YouTube. Today, let's compare my 3 favorite cameras that will fit that bill. The Sony A5100, the Canon M100, and the Panasonic Lumix G7. Which one comes out on top? Let's find out. What's up everyone, I'm the Everyday Dad, and if I can figure it out, you can figure it out. For the past few weeks, we've been talking about some really awesome budget cameras that can take your online video to the next level without breaking the bank. And today is where we are going to talk about my 3 favorites of all the recent ones we've covered. Each has a slightly different philosophy on camera build and video specs, so let's get started. The M100 is a mirrorless camera from camera giant, also known as Canon. It has a 24.2 megapixel APS-C CMOS sensor. It has Canon's Digic 7 image processor. It has a 3-inch flip-up touchscreen enabled LCD, and it can record full HD 1080p up to 60 frames per second. The strongest thing about this camera is it has Canon's blazing fast dual pixel autofocus. I mean, I cannot stress how awesome that dual pixel autofocus is. The A5100 is from once and future king of mirrorless, Sony. It has a 24.3 megapixel APS-C sensor. It also has a 3-inch flip-up touchscreen and can also record in 1080p 60 frames per second. It doesn't have dual pixel autofocus, but it has 179 phase detection autofocus points, still pretty darn good. And the teeny but biggest one of the bunch is the Lumix G7 is a micro four thirds mirrorless camera from the OG of mirrorless cameras, Panasonic. It has a 16 megapixel micro four thirds sensor, again 3-inch fully articulating touchscreen. It can record in 4K up to 30 frames per second. It has depth from defocus, autofocus, hooray. Physically, each of these cameras takes a little bit of a different route. The M100 is a pretty flat camera without any real place to grip. The A5100 is roughly the same shape, but does have a grip, and the Lumix G7 is shaped more traditionally as a DSLR style camera. All of them feel perfectly fine. There isn't really that big of a difference in build quality among the 3 cameras. I will say though that I personally prefer the G7 both for feel of construction and the overall style with the grip and the button. And we'll talk about this more in a little bit, but that hot shoe mount, you can actually install accessories into the G7, which kind of breaks this category a little bit. The main negative about the G7 physically is the SD card slot is on the bottom, which really makes for a hassle if you want to change out cards when the camera is on a tripod. Now that we've talked about the specs and the physical nature of all 3 cameras, let's get into the real main comparison. I think there are 3 things that an online camera needs to do to be considered successful and be one that I would personally recommend. And let me know in the comments what we should call these categories. For action cameras, we call it the pillars of action. But for regular cameras, let me know in the comments what you guys think it should be called. And for today, we'll change things up a little bit and give image quality its time to shine. Each of these cameras actually do a really good job for the price. They can all do a very nice looking 1080p up to 60 frames per second, and for online content, that's really a sweet spot. In low light, there is a little bit more separation between them all, and I personally think that the A5100 does the best in retaining detail in a non-optimal lighting situation. Amongst these cameras though, there is one that is a real standout for image quality, and that's the G7. It is the only camera in this category that can record in 4K. Not only can it record in 4K, but it also does a really good job in my low lit studio. I'll include this in image quality since it has a smaller sensor, but a bigger body. The G7 does not have a problem with overheating. It can record up to 30-minute clips, and I've never had a single issue with overheating. Now that's a pretty big step up from the M100 and the A5100. The M100 is a 10-minute recording limit on 60 frames per second, that's 1080p and 720p. The A5100 doesn't have the limit, but it does have a problem overheating if you use it for long clips. So the overall image quality winner for me, the Lumix G7. And to keep things shaken up, let's do ecosystem next. I mention this a lot, but the camera body itself can only get you so far. You really need lenses and accessories, and that can really increase your production value by either getting you a better image quality or smoothing out your workflow. Those are both very, very important things. The M100 uses Canon's EFM mount, and of all the systems we're talking about today, it's probably the weakest system lens-wise. There are some standouts like the 22mm f2 lens, but compared to the Sony E mount or the Micro Four Thirds mount, it's gonna struggle. And yes, I'm actually aware of the EF to EFM adapter. There's actually one behind me up here, but that pushes the camera outside of the $500 limit. The A5100 natively uses Sony's E mount lenses, which opens it up to a huge array of very very nice glass. Most is way too expensive to want to use on a budget body, but having the option is really nice. And last up, the G7 uses micro four thirds lenses, which are small, compact, and a lot of the time they are not as big as expensive as their counterpart. I personally really like micro four thirds glass. Something else I want to say about the ecosystem of the G7 is the hot shoe mount. That opens the G7 up to a whole other world of accessories that you can use. Monitors, microphones, lights. It is a very, very useful addition. And I didn't mention microphones, but I'll talk about that more here in a second. So again, at least for me, the Lumix G7 wins for the overall ecosystem. And last and most important to me, fiddliness. What? Oh yeah. I said fiddliness. Fiddliness is how much fiddling with the camera do I have to do to hit record, get usable footage, and sit down in front of my computer and start editing. So much fun. And unfortunately, each of these cameras fails this category in some way, shape, or form. So let's bring up the winner so far, the G7. For the most part, it works perfectly for how I want a camera to work. It has a fully articulating touchscreen. You can change the settings from in front of the camera. And it is the only camera in this comparison that has an audio in jack. All of that is so darn good. This next part hurts me in my heart. Like right here, or right here. It has terrible autofocus. It is absolutely awful. In fact, I would just use the phone app to pull focus for me instead of ever using the autofocus if I used the G7. I mean, that's what I currently do with the GH5 that we're doing right now. I don't have this in autofocus because it's bad. M100 on the other hand has awesome autofocus, a flip up screen that's fully touch enabled, and a decent sized APS-C sensor. But it doesn't have a microphone jack, and it has a recording limit at 60 frames per second. And it's not that good in low light despite the much bigger sensor. And continuing the train of almost perfect cameras that just can't quite hit the mark, we go to the A5100. Much like the M100, it has a flip up screen, really good autofocus, and it has a Sony sensor which puts it in pretty comfortable low light territory. But its screen isn't fully touch enabled, and it again is missing the audio input. And if you do record for too long, the A5100 will absolutely start to overheat. Now, this is a good time to mention, you probably noticed this, but there isn't a perfect camera out there for online content creators at any price. No matter how much you want to spend, there is nothing that has it all. So what, right? So which of these cameras do I think comes out on top? And surprise, today I do actually have a definitive statement. Hooray! I think of the three cameras we looked at today, the one that I would recommend most often is the Lumix G7. It is basically an all-in-one video platform that you can build off of. It does 4K, has a fully articulating touchscreen, and it has an audio in jack. This is really a remarkable camera for the price. And on a personal note, I used one of these for the first 6 months here on the Everyday Dad, and it's legitimately a rock star. Not only that, but when we made the G7 videos a few weeks ago, I liked this so much that I'm selling my Sony A7 III, and I bought the GH5 we're recording on right here to get back into the Panasonic Micro Four Thirds territory. It is really good for video purposes. It's fantastic. However, it's not perfect, and the autofocus is something you'll have to learn to work around. But I think the G7 is the best all-in-one mirrorless camera under $500. Thanks for watching.